First, we gotta fill up the water. I'm not sponsored by this company, but Mountain Valley, I think they're in Arkansas. This is the only, and I've researched so many water companies, but Mountain Valley right here, if you use this water, obviously you know how many microplastics are in water. I think there's like 250,000 microplastic particles. It's insane. It's like the amount of microplastics in typical water bottles will severely affect your testosterone if you're drinking bottled water all the time, if you're a man. So you need to replace this with either sparkling water, which automatically kind of comes in glass bottles, or the Mountain Valley, which is just still regular spring water. But I'm not sponsored by them, guys. I just bought these at Sam's Club. It was like a 12 pack of these 750 milliliter. I think it's a pint, right? Of these water. It's like 26 ounces roughly. It's a pretty good deal to get these if you actually care about your health, you care about what you're drinking and what's going into your body. But as you guys know, my name is Caleb Schulke. This is the Ascended Podcast, of course. TikTok, welcome in. My phone's off screen here. You guys can see that. We have the live stream going on here. We have YouTube, WAP, all the other communities involved. But I just wanted to say I appreciate everybody taking the time on a Saturday to come hang out with us, and we're gonna get straight into it. Today's episode is going to be interesting. This is something that's going to seem very meta and abstract, but as I talk through these topics a little bit more, you guys are going to start to realize how impactful they are. So doing one last mic check, making sure we're good. That mic's on, and yeah, I'm gonna get right to it. This will probably be about 30 minutes, by the way. Hopefully less, maybe more. I like to yap sometimes, so hopefully you guys don't have anything more important going on. If you're already a member inside Ascend, if you guys are already inside of our free community, if you're inside the digital syndicate, you guys will see a lot of changes that we made inside the community. We have now an AI bot that can answer any questions about exactly how our programs work. So if you're in the free community, if you're making money, people are submitting content rewards literally up until I hit start on this live stream. So we have a ton of content clippers right now taking the podcast here, chopping it up into TikToks and making money every single time they hit post, guaranteed money in their bank account. So if you guys want that to be you, if you want to get in on the wave here of making money with content and being an affiliate, whatever it is, just tap in, guys. Like the video, go to the link in the bio and just get started with that. But today we're talking about a deeper topic. I need you guys to listen up, because this isn't your grandma's TED Talk, right? We're about to rip the lid off of a hidden type of war that you guys are living in every single day. The war for your energy, for your money, and for your mind. The three biggest assets you have. Sounds crazy, right? But stick around, because by the end of this, you're going to see the matrix code of our reality. If you've ever seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That scene where you can manipulate it, right? You can see the code and you can make things happen internally, right? All of the things in that movie honestly have some sort of truth behind them. But I'm going to answer the question, why do you wake up tired, anxious, broke, and glued to an endless doom scroll? Why is it so easy to get on your phone and just waste time repetitively? It's not an accident, guys. Your brain has been programmed on purpose. It's a frequency war, and you've been drafted without even knowing it. So you might think World War III is the scariest thing coming up, but you've already been recruited and psyoped into this war. We're gonna full send the truth about energy, currency, and how your frequency is under attack. It seems meta, guys. I sound kind of like a hippie already for talking about it, but I want you guys to know that there are ramifications for not paying attention to these things. Sorry, guys, on the streaming, I'm trying to make your view a little bit better. I'm gonna zoom in a little more on TikTok. Paying attention is the only way that you can get out of this. This will be raw, this will be unfiltered, and yes, UCMJ compliant, so don't worry, my military bros. I'm not about to get you guys court-martialed or myself. Think of this as a high-voltage briefing, somewhere between an Andrew Tate wake up, maybe Nick Fuentes fire rant, without the hate or the illegal shit. We're exposing how exactly to take your cash flow and your brainwaves and change them without being manipulated. By then, you're going to know exactly how to break out of the system and turn the tables. If you're hooked yet, grab your tinfoil hat and hit a thinking cap, because what I'm about to say might actually shock you guys. Your heart, your mind, and your news feed, it's all connected in one giant control grid. And you aren't the one that's programming it. Once you see it, you can never unsee it. Let's dive in. The first lesson of today, the hidden science of human energy and frequency. You are a walking, talking, electromagnetic being. That's not new age hippie talk. It's not vibes. It's hard science. Your heart and brain literally emit frequencies and electrical fields. That's been proven. In fact, the heart and its electromagnetic field is about 5,000 times stronger than the brain's. And it can be detected several feet from outside your body. You ever sense someone's like vibe, right? We use the term vibe, but it's actually a vibrational frequency. That's where the term vibe comes from. It's real science. When they walk in the room, guys, the vibe they give off, that's likely your heart's field syncing with theirs in a silent frequency chat. Again, this doesn't sound real, right? But how many things that we know are science also don't sound real? You know, color, right? The fact that you're looking at my suit and it's a light blue. Well, in reality, it's every color except light blue, because every other frequency is being blocked by your brain except for the blue frequency. And therefore my suit appears to be blue to you, right? So what you see, the perception of blue and the color of what I'm wearing, doesn't actually mean that that's the truth of what it is. The same thing happens on levels you can't see. We know our cells exist. We know atoms exist. We know there's levels deeper than atoms called quarks. And within those quarks are a series of strings. That's where string theory comes from, if you guys aren't paying attention. And so a lot of things about reality we just can't see. Our human eye can't comprehend it. And therefore, I'm going to be very real about the fact that vibes and frequencies are a very real thing. The people who you think are crazy listening to frequencies or certain, brain deafening things or tone frequencies, that's a real thing. It does change the way those strings move inside of the deepest level of our anatomy. Think about anatomy. The term anatomy consists of atom, A-T-O-M, which means that we are made up of atoms and energy frequencies. An atom is defined as like this physical object, right? Atoms are inside molecules, right? Atoms are moving around, but in reality, atoms are actual energy fields. They're not just a physical structure inside of a molecule. It's a pattern of strings, right? Of quarks and energy signs, right? That are controlled by frequencies. So if you are on a different frequency, if your body vibrates at a different frequency, well, that's going to change the results that you perceive. It's going to change the way you feel. It's going to change the sleep patterns, the way your brain works, the energy levels you have, but also, if not taking control of, someone else can. And there are so many signals in our day-to-day life that impact that. What's even more wild is that the Earth itself has a heartbeat. If you guys haven't heard of this yet, right? There's a low-frequency electromagnetic pulse called the Schumann resonance, which is at about 7.83 hertz. That circles the planet, right? You know how in space movies and things like that, it kind of have this like low, just like deep tone, right? That kind of resembles the Earth's like sound, even though there's really no sound in space. You can't perceive sound in space. That's kind of like the vibe of the Earth, right? This Earth is this low, deep, grounded energy. And human brainwaves, when we're relaxed or in a meditative state, oscillate at pretty much the same frequency. What does that tell you? So when we're at peace and when we're touching grass, almost literally, when our body is in contact with the earth, we vibrate at a frequency of 7.83 hertz. That's the healthy wavelength and frequency for your body to be at. Again, this sounds crazy because you guys can't see it with your eyes. And so, like so many things, right? It's like, I can't tell the air's polluted because I can't see the pollution. You can see cars that emit, smoke and exhaust and things like that. But most of the time, the danger, right? The carbon monoxide in the air, you can't see it. So to you, it's just not real because your brain says, well, I can't perceive that. On the deepest level, the things that make up our body, right? The string theory, that changes our entire perception of reality and how our body interacts. Because again, the way the strings move are the way the quarks move. The way the quarks move, the atoms move. The way the atoms move, the molecules, which mean our cells, our tissues, and our organs. And so no wonder your stomach's upset when you're doing things and disrupting your natural signals and your frequencies. It has nothing to do with what you ate. It has everything to do with where you're positioning yourself. If your brain is next to a phone that's emitting frequency, Wi-Fi routers emit like 5 million times the natural frequency of wavelength that your body can handle. And so you're wondering why you shouldn't sleep with technology. It's not because it's going to wake you up with notifications. It's because it's literally disrupting your sleep pattern. And the earth, again, vibrates at a 7.83 frequency. And so why you need to touch grass, why I like going out and barefoot walking in the morning like a psychopath when everyone thinks I'm weird, right? Why I like going out by the pool without shoes on. It's because your shoes, right? Think about, I have these rubber Birkenstocks. Rubber, as we know, is an insulator, and that defends yourself from getting shocked by a current. Most of our shoes have rubber soles on purpose because they block frequencies getting from the earth into our bodies. Rubber is an insulator. Your shoes have rubber on the bottom, which means even though your body's supposed to be in sync with the earth, right? Think electrical grounding, right? When you have frequency and your hair is staticky, you're going to touch something or somebody else to ground you. They're going to get a shock because the energy is being transmitted back to the earth. The earth is our natural receiver of energy. It grounds us, not just like in a mental state, right? When you think I'm grounded, but literal grounding, which basically relaxes our body. You're wondering why you're anxious all the time. You're wondering why your body's upset because you haven't grounded yourself with the earth. Because every time you walk outside and you're touching grass, you have shoes on. There's blocking things, right? You walk on concrete, not grass. Concrete, again, is disrupting frequencies of the earth. And you're wondering why life is getting more and more anxious, why people are getting less and less connected with the nature of the human body, and why we feel like everything is off, why we're bloated, all these headaches, all these things, right? But this gets deeper. Let's talk about the pineal gland, Pineal. Please look it up if you've never heard of this, because it's very, very deep where I'm about to go. This is a mysterious little third third eye, I guess, in your brain. Your brain can actually see, even though you don't think it can. Right? It doesn't have an eyeball, but it can sense, kind of like a dolphin sensing frequencies in the ocean, or a whale using sonar. It can't see the ship, right? It can't see things in the ocean, but it can emit sounds that bounce back to it. Your brain can kind of do the same thing. And so if it doesn't seem crazy that a whale can do it, why would it seem crazier that your human brain, one of the most intelligent organisms on the planet, can also do it? This little thing has fascinated truth seekers forever, and for a very good reason, guys. Researchers discovered very tiny calcite crystals inside of the human pineal gland. Why does that matter? That's the same exact question I asked. Well, because calcite is piezoelectric, meaning it can convert electronic signals or electrical signals into vibration and vice versa. Vibration is the concept that makes up our entire existence, the way the universe moves, the way gravity works. Everything is connected to a vibration, and our body is made up, again, at the very lowest level of these strings. Not even atoms, but strings inside quarks inside atoms. And so when our vibration is off, everything is off. Our brain, our signals within our brain, our feelings, our mood, our control over our reality is all distorted. And so this pineal gland inside your brain controls those signals and how you interpret them. So that is the most important organ in your body, even though you've never learned that in school. I wonder why. Wonder why they wouldn't want you to learn that. These microcrystals in your pineal are similar to the crystals in your inner ear, right? The cochlea and the hairs inside your ear, right? The drum, right? Kind of shaped organs inside your brain that help you sense gravity, right? When your ears pop, it's because gravity is being affected and your ears are trying to process that and keep you grounded, essentially. Some scientists think that the pineal gland might act as an antenna for your body, sensitive to electromagnetic fields. So as much as like our brain gets dizzy, right? When you're on a roller coaster and your ears pop, or you're trying to sense gravity, and so it creates a sickening feeling because you can't figure out exactly where you're at in space. You also get disrupted in your body when you can't sense where you're at in electromagnetic fields. When you're not grounded back to the earth or to your natural rhythm, your body's going to be off, and you're going to blame it on the gluten that you ate at Olive Garden last night. But in reality, you guys just need to regulate yourself. In fact, studies show that changing magnetic fields can suppress your pineal gland's melatonin production. That's your sleep and mood hormone. Anything electric basically can disrupt that, because it's like having a magnet, guys. You ever seen the magnet with ash, like when you were a kid in elementary school, and you like move the magnets, you could see little magnetic dust right around it, kind of scattering or moving? That's the same thing that's happening when you put a phone in your space. Your brain is emitting wavelengths, it's trying to ground itself with the earth. And all of a sudden you put this electronic device that also emits a high amount of frequency in that space. No wonder your sleep pattern is going to be disrupted. Translation: the EMF soup that we live in, cell towers, Wi-Fi, etc., could be dulling that third eye and messing with your sleep and sound, as well as your mood. They don't call it calcifying your pineal for nothing. Basically, we're building up this like crust, literally, around our pineal gland, the most important gland in our brain, which allows us to sense the vibrations. And the more that's dulled, the less you can connect with your actual intuition is actually what it is. You can't sense what's going on in the world around you. You know how birds, right, can sense when it's time to migrate? Birds can identify when it's time to go south for the winter. That doesn't seem crazy, right? Because you've studied it. The same way this doesn't sound crazy when you actually know how it works. We're the smartest animals on the planet, guys, and you think that we can't sense things like birds can? We can sense things way better. The only reason is that it doesn't feel like that is because your brain's been numbed. It's been numbed by the same technology that you're watching this on. It's emitting frequencies, some would say for convenience, but others would say on purpose, to distract your brain from being intuitive. Because that's what makes you money. That's what makes you powerful. That's what helps you sense what's really going on. You think this is fringe? Well, the US military sure doesn't. They've weaponized frequency. The active denial system is a non-lethal crowd control weapon, basically a heat ray that fires a 95 gigahertz microwave beam. It instantly makes your skin feel like it's burning by exciting the water molecules under your skin. It penetrates 1/64th of an inch, so it's non-lethal, but it will send a mob running. You've also got sonic weapons, or LRADs, nicknamed the voice of God, that can hurl sound so powerfully it disperses crowds. I've seen videos, guys, of like riots going on, and essentially you'd hear this like boom or this blast on the video down the center of the crowd, and all of a sudden there'd be this like Red Sea tide dispersing of people running away from something that isn't even there. Well, clearly, if that's effective in a video, you know that these technologies exist in the real. So frequency weapons do exist. Look it up. So when we say frequencies affect humans, it's not theory. It's actually battlefield tested fact. And you guys, if you do your research and you actually pay attention, you can learn these things. My phone is at 14%. I'm going to actually unplug real quick. I'm going to unplug this from I'm going to plug it into my phone here, guys, for you on TikTok. And then we're good to go. Let me get a sip. Like the stream, guys. Comment anything you can. Helps me grow. If you're inside of our community, if you're inside our WAP, you can see us going live right now. Obviously, Rumble's our main platform. We're trying to grow, so just get active on there. Go support us. I love it if you guys could donate. It helps us grow our community and our presence. But whatever you guys can do, you don't have to donate $1 million, right? You just have to pay attention, because I'm really going for education here, and I want you guys to know what's really going on behind the scenes. So let's continue with our next section: currency, the flow of energy and power. What does this mean? Well, have you ever wondered why we call money currency? What else is current? Electric fields, like flows of energy? Because currency literally means flow. The word comes from Latin, currese. I might have butchered that. To run, basically. It means to run, as in a current. Like a river runs, right? Or electrical current. Money isn't just pieces of paper or numbers on a screen. It's energy in motion. Think about the terms, guys. Think about the way that this works. Currency, right? Like a river current. You also have banks with money, right? Which is like the sides of the river bank. It's where things are stored. Deposits build up. Oh, deposits, like on a river, like when sediment or currency is deposited there and kind of hits its wall, right? It's the end point of currency. That's the bank, guys, the river bank. And so you're wondering why currency feels and then this stuff is like a river. Well, it's because that's exactly the way it was intended to be. It's literally etymology of the words. Is what I'm saying sounding crazy? Because it shouldn't be, first of all, because I guess maybe a little, because you weren't supposed to learn any of this. But when you learn this stuff, guys, you actually start realizing how the world works. And that's exactly what I'm going for. Money isn't just pieces of paper or numbers on a screen, stock trader bros. It's energy in motion. It's got motion, guys. It's got that flow. It's got chill. It's got aura, all right? Money can flow like M&M on a, or maybe Pop Smoke on a drill beat, you know what I'm saying? It's a token of human effort. Energy represents at its core human effort. It represents actual energy. No wonder there's a connection between electrical current or like river current of flow of energy and human effort. Because if you think about it, right, what are you buying with money? Well, most of the time, right, you're buying, let's say you go to a restaurant. Well, you're paying someone else to make you food. That is human labor. Human labor had to go into growing the food. Human labor had to go into transporting the food, processing the food, putting it into packaging, bringing it to the restaurant, cook, taking it out of the packaging. Energy that had to power the grill being supplied by other humans and other people mining the resources to power your electrical grid, cooking the food, the waiter bringing it out to you, maybe smiling at the guy at the table next to you, taking their time, filling up your drink, all that stuff. Currency, money, represents their energy to get the food fully cooked to your table. That's why it's expensive versus just buying the stuff yourself, because you're cutting out the amount of energy that has to go into producing your food. It's a token of human effort, time, and creativity. Life force, essentially, that flows through society's arteries. Everyone that participates in society and has a job is one of the arteries of currency. And again, you're thinking of, I wish I had like $100 bill in my pocket a little while ago. Not to flex, no humble brag here, but I was going to show you guys that, but I don't know where it went. Conveniently, right, guys? It's like, but every one of us that participates in making money or a job is essentially participating in that system, that flow of energy, because you're representing labor or work that has to be done. In physics, energy can't be created nor destroyed. We learned that. It's a zero-sum game. You can't lose energy, it's only just transferred. And in life, your work flows energy into money, which sometimes turns into someone else's product or service. Currency equals current, which equals energy flow. That's the TLDR from this section. Now, any engineer will tell you, or any physicist, right? If you control the flow of electricity, you can essentially control the whole system. So you need a system to create energy coming into a business, into a development, right? And then you make money naturally out of it. So if you can control the way people's energy is translated, money comes to you. That's the lesson school structures, universities purposely don't teach you. That's exactly what the global power structure has figured out. And it's not a conspiracy to say that those who control the money supply have immense power. It's common sense, because they can, at whim's notice, control energy from other human beings with the pieces of paper we call money, because they're buying their energy. They're trading the pieces of paper for their energy. And therefore, you can get people to do whatever you want with enough of that energy if it's an important enough task. It's common sense, guys. As an infamous banker allegedly said, "Permit me to issue and control the money of a nation, and I care not who makes its laws." Whether he actually said it or not, the reality checks out. Laws can be bypassed or changed. Control of money, and money is control, right? 24/7. You guys trade hours of your life. Stop saying money, right? Stop saying wage. Stop using that term. You trade hours of your life, which is energy, do a task for dollars. If someone can print trillions of those dollars out of thin air, they're basically siphoning the value of your life hours without ever touching you. What does that sound like to you? Somebody controlling your life and your energy without your say in it. What does that sound like to you? You know what I'm saying? That's exactly what happened. In the last few years, the US Federal Reserve went on a money printing bender. About 80% of all US dollars to ever exist in 250 years, in the last few years, were created since January 2020. Read that twice, and I did. They conjured more than, in a few months, right, than the previous centuries combined, 200 years plus, expanding the currency from $4 trillion over 20 trillion. And you wonder why your groceries got expensive, why they increased the currency current. They just dilute, essentially, every unit of energy you've earned. So, right, you think about this from an energy perspective. This isn't political, guys. I'm not even blaming a particular party. I'm just talking about how the system as a whole works. Inflation, right? You know how inflation works. Well, think about it like this. You traded your time for energy, or you traded your energy for a wage, right? Wage which is paid out in dollars. Sometimes you guys have salaries, which is really just a diluted wage, right? Because it's a set amount. You still have to do a set amount of work in a certain amount of time period. It's just not hourly, it's monthly, right? But either way, you trade time for money. All of a sudden, when more money is printed, the energy that you traded for that paycheck, right, is diluted because there's more money out there. So basically, the value of your work proven to be less because there's more of these dollars that represent the work you did. It's an energy heist. It's a silent tax through inflation that steals your purchasing power. You did work. They essentially came back and said, or they originally said, hey, we'll pay you for this amount of work. We think that this is a fair rate for the work you're doing. You said, you know what? I agree to that. You start doing the work. They pay you the money like they promised. But all of a sudden, something beyond your control is saying, okay, you know what, that work you did, it's actually less valuable now than we originally agreed because more money exists. Okay, does that seem fair? Does that sound fair to you guys? Trade more time for money, and although you were promised a certain, you never agreed to the fact, you never solidified the fact that money was going to be worth the same amount over time. You just assumed, right, that if you did work and they paid you this amount of money at the time when you said that sounds like a fair deal, you never thought the amount that classified fairness would change. You just said, well, this equals this. In my current state of mind, that sounds good. But all of a sudden they're saying, well, actually, this doesn't mean as much as you thought it did. Yeah. So it robs your stored energy. It robs the work you're doing and the results of your work without having to openly raise taxes or wages. They're just changing the value of what your work means. And that is the greatest heist that will ever be completed. It has nothing to do with taking money. Why take money when you can just change the value of what the money represents? Are you guys learning anything here? Am I saying anything to help? Like, I'm not getting a lot of likes here. I'm just kind of getting views. You guys are popping in and out. I have no idea if maybe I sound like a lunatic, but maybe I am just a lunatic. Maybe I'm just a business major that wanted to. Oh, thanks for the rose. I appreciate it. Thank you guys. I'm trying here. I'm trying to explain this stuff. It gets deeper. I'm gonna go a little bit deeper. The money system is flat. From Latin, it means fiat. You've heard of fiat currency. It means let it be done. That's what flat or fiat means. Let it be done. In other words, money by decree. It has value because the government says so and we all believe it. Right? There's nothing backing our dollar anymore. There used to be gold, but there's nothing now. It's just our belief. In 1971, the US straight up cut the tether to gold backing, meaning that dollars no longer represented a fixed real asset. You couldn't trade the dollars back in for gold because the gold may or may not exist. That's why they wanted to go to Fort Knox and show whether or not we had gold and why it was such a big deal. If you guys weren't paying attention to the news, we wanted to see if we even had enough gold to justify how many dollars were in existence, and we probably don't. There's a good chance we don't. It became pure basically they said, if there's no gold to represent how much money we have, then why don't we just print as much money as possible? That's the logic, and that's what worked. It printed abstract energy tokens. I'm just gonna call them energy tokens, right, instead of dollars, from the central bank to create at will. You could say, just print more of this. People will do the same amount of work they agreed to for the same amount of rate. They could ask for, it's up to you guys to ask for a raise. But we'll just, for right now, at least change the value of the work that you're doing. And if you don't ask for a raise, that's kind of on you guys, right? You think most companies are just going to naturally change the wage for inflation? No, it's kind of up to you guys to go fight for that. It's up to unions. It's up to the common people to go stand your ground. And so is that fair to just say, you know what, we're pulling the rug out from underneath you? You can stay at that lower rate, right? Because your money is worth less now. You can stay at that $20 rate, even though it's probably worth $30 now. And sorry, go ask for a raise. It's kind of up to you. If your boss says no, well, sorry. I mean, God, it gave the wizards, what I call the wizards, right, behind the curtain, the power to expand or to contract the flow of currency, right, the flow of money, the flow of energy, and thus the flow of human activity with a push of a button. I could, with clicks on a keyboard, and there's actually an office in New York that, and they say we want to put more money out into the economy. These people behind a few keyboards will click a few buttons on a keyboard in a government office, and all of a sudden banks will have more money. And all of a sudden, in a few clicks of a keyboard, all the work you're doing at your job just became worth less money. You just don't hear about it because you're too focused on World War III and who's going to win the NBA finals. If money is oxygen for the economy, they control the oxygen tank. And right now they're saying, well, they're still breathing. Why don't we just turn it down a little bit, right? They haven't said anything yet. Let's just make it a little bit harder. We want to save the oxygen, right? We want more oxygen. So let's just give everyone else a little bit less and let's see if they notice. People are noticing, but we're not doing anything about it. The real question I want to ask, and again, I'm not trying to point names out. I'm staying within my limits as a citizen for addressing these things, but I want to say, what do they do with the power? Why do they want that extra oxygen in the tank, right? Why do they want to siphon it off you and keep it for themselves? Well, boom and bust cycles, bailouts for them, debts for you. They win, you lose. They keep you on a hamster wheel. Earn, take out your debt, very high interest rate mortgage, work until you die, right? Mortgage by definition is mort, which is like mortis, like death, and gage, which is a pact, right? It's like an agreement. So you make a death pact, essentially. You make an agreement to work until you die. That's what mortgage means. You guys just don't know the etymology behind the word. So it seems, oh, let's get a mortgage. Let's make a death pact for this house. And again, they're just siphoning that off of you. It's a hamster wheel, right? And if you get too far ahead, all of a sudden inflation or a market crash just knocks you right back down. It's the old slaves on a plantation trick, updated for the 21st century. Instead of whips, they use debt and evaluation. Instead of shackles, golden handcuffs, credit cards, 30-year mortgages, student loans. A clever cage doesn't change the meaning of what a cage is. Do you understand? Look at how energy ties in. You pay for everything with either physical energy, which is your labor, or stored energy, which is money, right? Those are the only two things that make the world go round. You taking other people's energy and directing it, which is basically spending money on something, or you take your own energy and you trade it, which is like a wage or a salary. They jack up gas or electricity prices. Suddenly it costs more of your energy, right, which you're trading for money, to perform the same task. So I have to work harder at my job to pay for the same amount of gas to get to my job. What does that sound like? Well, so I have to work longer just to get to my job, and I have less money for everything else. It sounds like they're trapping me a little bit. I'm just saying, they jack up the interest rates. It costs more money or energy, I guess, of yours to borrow for a house or business. Trading your time at work, more hours of your time at work just to get the house. What does that sound like to you? They flood the media with fear, and we'll get to that, and you redirect your energy to survival mode instead of growth. The control of currency is the control of where society's collective energy flows. Think about the, remember the COVID, guys, when everyone was rushing to Target to get toilet paper? Toilet paper all of a sudden became scarce. You couldn't see really how much toilet paper they had or didn't have in stock. Maybe they were completely stocked up. But on the news, they said toilet paper's scarce, they could jack up the prices, and you guys waste more of your energy for the same good you were going to buy regardless just to survive. See how media can play into these things? Guys, hopefully I'm saying anything here that resonates. I don't know. I'm not getting a lot of I'm just seeing people join and like and stuff, but I don't know if the comments are really, if you guys are, this is clicking, or if I have to dumb it down more. But yeah, on Rumble, yeah, I see you guys commenting here. I hate getting heated up. I don't want to be the crazy underground professor here. I want to be the war general telling you guys what we should be doing. And I'm about to give you advice, so just hang out. Here's a spicy metaphor I'll tell you guys. Remember the Matrix? Humans were trapped in pods, used as batteries to fuel the system? Well, I hate to break it to you, but that's eerily spot on. The system sees your life force and your ability to produce output and energy as a life force battery to be drained through 40-hour work weeks, taxes siphoning off of that, inflation siphoning off of that, consumption siphoning off of that, to keep the machine going. As long as you remain oblivious, you stay plugged in, generating energy for the people that are actually keeping that empire and have to work less. They have to work less because you work more. Once you see the wiring, once you realize that currency is really just your energy and your labor, you can start generating for yourself because you can bend that. You can have other people work for you. At the end of the day, guys, I hate to say it, but it really just is Darwinistic. You're unplugging from their grid and you're giving other people, right? Having other people direct their energy to you because you have to, and then you have to do less for yourself. Now there's already systems in place, right? There's always going to be people that need to stay in the system. And I hate to say this, right? But some people are just going to work their whole lives. They don't want to do anything else. So why is their money continuing to go to the people at the very top who already have more than enough energy to power their life for generations, and not to you, people who probably need that a little bit more in the position they're in? Okay, because now we're getting into how the people. I'm not going to label institutions. I can't actually right now. It will mess me up socially, I promise you. But how do these people manipulate or mess with the frequencies you live in, keeping you to march to their drum? Now let's get into the real point of today. The frequency war. How do people manipulate your mind and your behavior? Imagine an enemy that attacks you on frequencies that you can't see or even fully perceive. Think about like the Predator, Alien versus Predator, guys. The Predator could just disappear. He could be right behind me right now with a knife up to my throat and I could just die. Somebody could be coming after me right now. There could be somebody driving to my house with a M16 ready to gun me down. I can't see the threat. And so to me, it's not real. Like somebody's not heading here right now with a weapon to come and take me out permanently because I can't see it. So why would I worry about it? Even if it was happening. It's not sci-fi, guys. This is happening daily. Not that exact situation, right? But a version of it, a very watered down version of that. Governments, media, big corporations have essentially become frequency warfare specialists, manipulating the environment around you, informational, emotional, even physical, to herd the masses. So this is the playbook, frequency and fear conditioning, the oldest trick in the book. Fear is the mind killer. It literally changes your brain chemistry. It shuts down your logical thinking and it triggers the fight or flight, making you essentially desperate for protection. When people are scared, they're easy to control. And that's when change happens the most. When people don't know what to do, they have to unite. They have to take action, even to the point of surrendering their freedoms for an illusion of safety. As one analysis put it bluntly, fear makes people easier to control. When people feel under siege, they become desperate for protection, even if it means sacrificing their own freedom. Sound familiar? Turn on any 24/7 news channel. It's a constant fear fest. Why is so much sad stuff in the news? Why are we showing good things in the news? There's so much good happening in the world. Why is it only the bad explosions and bombs and crises and school shootings? And there's so much good to counteract the bad. Why is it worth showing the bad stuff? Terrorism, crime, disease, economic collapse, an endless loop of panic porn. During crises, notice how they hammer the message around the clock and swoop in with solutions that always seem to expand power. Wars, Patriot Acts, emergency decrees, they're weaponizing fear frequencies to keep you in a fight or flight mode. A population that's scared is not debating, innovating, or resisting. It's not getting better. It's huddling on compliance and feeding back into the same system because it's the only thing you guys know. How's it going to get better for the people if you're doing that? When you're scared, your brain's frequency literally shifts. High beta waves, as what they're known. Anxiety spikes with that. You become hyper suggestible is what scientists will say it's called. And advertisers know this too. Scare people about their looks or their status, then sell them an instant cure product. How many products are viral right now on TikTok that trigger insecurity, which is really just a form of fear, right? Insecurity is a sophisticated version of fear, especially for men, right? Kanye West arguably built an empire around men's insecurities. Kim Kardashian, right, with her Skims, she says, you can be sexier and you cannot be, you cannot be looked down upon if you're wearing something like this bodysuit that I wear. You guys understand how this works, how frequently it happens. It doesn't even have to be an individual. These tech giants have turned your smartphone basically into a portable version of this. The kicker though, is that social media algorithms that you're on right now, probably not my podcast because I'm, unfortunately I'll probably be banned for even talking about this, but they amplify fear and anger intentionally because it keeps you engaged. Rap music, commonly pushed music, guys, in the charts, play at a certain frequency. I think it's 438 hertz, which triggers anxiety. It triggers fear. It triggers violence. No wonder listening to hostile music, not only the subconscious wording of taking on your ops, right, and shooting people in the streets, like no wonder that's gonna make us more violent and anxious and more scared of the world around us. No wonder beautiful music died like a century ago, probably honestly 50 years ago. The stuff today, like it's catchy, right? There's good beats and music and stuff, but so much of it makes me feel amped up. I listen to it in the gym because that's the place I want to be amped, right? But I don't want to listen to it when I'm trying to better myself. I want to listen to classical chill music that is relaxing to my brain. Do you understand why you're doing that though? Why that happens? A recent study confirmed that Twitter, or now X, their engagement algorithm will boost emotionally charged, diversive, and divisive content that makes people feel worse, just because it glues eyes to the screen. Fear is a business model and a control tactic rolled into one. You guys have probably heard that fear, we value losses stronger than we value wins. The same thing is like good and bad too. We value fearful content because we're primed as beings to look out for dangers in our surroundings, because we care more about the lion that's hiding around the corner than we do the nice papaya that we want to eat later, right? Like our threat's always going to be perceived as higher. And so social media algorithms are designed to push out more stimulating fight or flight type content. Let's talk about the digital dopamine battlefield. They're fighting for your attention because where attention goes, your energy goes, your money follows that. So again, money is representing energy. So if they control where your energy goes backwards, right, they're going to control where your money goes. So if they can create content that draws your energy, which is, where we direct our energy is coming through our attention. If we're focused on work and we're on a salary, right, that's going to pay the bills, right? You're doing good at your job because your attention is on your work, your salary and your hourly rate's going to come in, and therefore money's going to come in. They're doing it backwards. They're saying, well, if we can control where your attention goes, then we're going to control where your energy is spent watching a video, and therefore we can control where money goes. It's a little laboratory, guys, of constant conditioning. If you ever find yourself mindlessly scrolling, basically unable to stop, well, it's not an accident. The founders of Facebook admitted that they designed it to exploit, quote, a vulnerability in human psychology. They give you little dopamine hits like notifications to keep you hooked on a social validation feedback loop. Also a quote. As Facebook's first president, Sean Parker, put, how do we consume as much of your time and conscious attention as possible? Still a quote. We give you a little dopamine hit. You're exploiting a vulnerability in human psychology, end quote. Think about the language. Users like drugs. When have you heard users before, other than like somebody that's doing fent, right, or crack, right? Users, I have a problem of using alcohol, using drugs. I'm using social media. We've all become dopamine junkies on platforms engineered to keep us anxious and argumentative and even addicted. Tristan Harris, a former Google ethicist, yes, they have ethicists, the best. All of us are jacked into this system. Our minds can be hijacked. Our choices are not as free as we think they are. Big tech is basically running a mass hypnosis machine, tweaking frequencies of content, likes, ads tailored to your psychology, and your behavior is programmed into their profit and control loop. You ever get that fried, zombified feeling after hours on the phone? Well, that's your mental energy depleted by design. When you're in that distracted haze, guess what you're not doing? Thinking independently, creating, or challenging anything. Third, the consumption cycle trap. Our economy is set up like an infinite feed scroll. There's always more to buy, right? There's always more stores or restaurants to go to, more to consume. They keep you in a low-level vibration of chasing desires, physical, financial, sexual, and instant gratification. Porn, dopamine, sugar. Corporations literally employ desire engineers, marketers and psychologists to figure out how to trigger you into spending. They deliberately design hyper-palatable foods that hit bliss points in your brain with just the right fat, sugar, salt combo, spiking your dopamine, then crashing it so you crave more. This happens in Red Bull, guys. I was going to go buy a Red Bull the other day, and I looked up what Red Bull's doing. They're marketing themselves as like an action lifestyle drink. You always see Red Bull athletes like jumping out of planes. It's supposed to be like the lifestyle drink. It makes your lifestyle better. But they've designed the chemicals in Red Bull in a way where it spikes your brain and then immediately drops it, causing a desire for more. That happens in a lot of drinks. I'm not just calling out that brand, guys, but understand how the system works. Once you have an Alani, right? Once you have a Celsius, you kind of want another one. You want another Diet Coke. Even though you think like it's the health drink, right? Drink water because it doesn't have those chemicals. And you'll know when you're hydrated and when you aren't. Studies show that these ultra-processed foods can alter your brain's reward pathways, like an addictive drug. No joke, some foods light up your brain like cocaine does. Over half of the calories in the modern American diet come from these addictive engineered foods. They want you physically dependent on the next carb or caffeine high. A weak, malnourished body stuck in sugar crashes and insulin spikes doesn't have the energy to resist or to think clearly. Is anything making sense here? Am I the only one thinking? Is anyone else thinking? Please like this. Say something. Are you thinking? Are you thinking the way I'm thinking? Are you thinking at all? I don't even care if you hate me. If you think everything I'm saying is fucking wrong. Like, are you thinking? Are you realizing any of this? It's not just food. Look at porn. Everywhere. OnlyFans getting you to pay for it. An endless buffet of artificial sexual stimulus that mostly men get hooked on. Brain scans of compulsive porn users show that the same neural pathways lit up as in drug addicts. It hijacks your mating drive, leaves you drained and desexualized, or desensitized, right? Exactly what an enemy would want if they can't take you out physically. Guys, the same 5K analogy I've used like so many days this last week. If I was running a 5K and you were competing against me, why would I train so hard? Why wouldn't I just bring in donuts? I look like the good guy, right? I'm giving you pleasure. Here's a free donut. Just enjoy it, man. You've earned it. And I do that every day for a month, and I don't have to train very hard for that 5K. You're not feeling like you got the low carb energy, right? You're slow, you're dulled, and I win the race because I look like the good guy for being generous, right? For creating a good. It's not as black and white as you think it is. Toxic music pumping out just degrading messages at specific beats. Toxic entertainment bombarding you with mindless dopamine hits. Toxic news amplifying fear and outrage. It's a full spectrum assault on your frequency. Keep people oscillating between fear and frenzy, hunger and satiation, arousal and crash, outrage and clickbait, and you keep them off balance and controlled. Number 4, digital herding and data leashes. Okay, so what I'm about to talk about, you can't see with your eyes. I mentioned it earlier in the podcast. If you're not listening and you weren't paying attention to any of that, if you think I'm completely lying, this is the time to get off, because what I'm about to say won't make as much sense. But it is real. I can guarantee you that this is happening. You guys won't believe me because your brain is probably not at the openness state, right, of exploration that you need to understand this next section. But if you do believe in what I'm saying, if you do understand the manipulation that's going on, and this is a scarier one because you can't see it, and that's why it's more dangerous. They're even going now for direct brain frequency manipulation. Our entire environment is flooded with electromagnetic signals. Cell towers, radio, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, 5G. I'm not going to claim 5G is some mind-controlled death ray, right? We stay UCMJ compliant here, folks. But I will point out that electromagnetic pollution is real, and its effects on the human biology are not fully understood. Why would you put all these radio frequencies into space, understanding that frequencies and vibrations are the way we exist as humans on the very most fundamental biological level that we can't see? And why would we disrupt those on purpose with devices that make our life more convenient? Wouldn't you rather have a life that you actually live comfortably, than a life that is just given by these convenient features that disrupt the biology of your system? So you're gonna feel like shit while you also use the more convenient features? That doesn't make sense to me. We know extremely low frequency waves can influence mood. We already talked about that. There's research suggesting chronic exposure may relate to higher depression rates. Low frequency exposure relates to high depression rates. Even geomagnetic storms, changes in Earth's magnetic field, have been statistically linked to changes in human mental state and even heart attack rates. I want to make a side tangent point right here. Think about the most depressing music that you listen to, and this is going to prove my point. The most depressing songs you can think of, are they really fast and high energy? No, they're slow, they're dull. Think about like X, right? XX, Jocelyn Flores, right, guys? We got the vibes, right? They're like slow, they're drawn out, and like they feel sad because they vibrate. Their song is at a low beats per minute. It's a low frequency song, and it's going to influence you to feel sadder, right? You're not going to be like, let's go hit a PR to Jocelyn Flores, unless you're like into the emo stuff, right? Like, I mean, yeah, everything is connected via frequency. And so tweak the background frequency enough, you could essentially nudge human behavior, and it doesn't look like you're directly controlling anyone. Is it intentional? Well, some of it, absolutely. Others just might be side effects. But consider this, with the rise of smart everything, smartphones, smart TVs, smart refrigerators, smart and wearable devices, right, that are also emitting signals, we're bathed in signals and also feeding biometric data to algorithms. These algorithms, hello AI, watching this and analyzing my TikTok live stream, my Instagram live stream, deciding on whether or not what I'm saying is good or bad, and assessing the marketability of my live stream into your algorithm depending on what I say and how good the things I'm saying are about you, even though I'm talking shit about you and therefore my live streams get no views. Hello AI. These algorithms learn the pattern to predict and influence what you do next. It's the perfect loop. Stimuli in, high dopamine content, behavior out, data recorded, then optimize stimuli back in. You guys watch this video where you're actually learning something. You decide to skip it because you have a brain rot. You go to the Tung Tung Saur live stream where they compare different memes and meme culture. You like that one. You stay a little bit longer. The algorithm learns that you like these videos more, and it can keep you trapped in these loops and on the platform longer if you watch Tung Tung Saur more than me actually educating you. And so it takes that data, plugs it back into the system, routes you to the beginning. The next video is more of Tung Tung Saur and less of me. I'm not saying it like, if you understand that birds migrate south based on innate feelings in their biology, I feel like you could also understand that what I'm saying doesn't make complete sense either. Or it doesn't not make sense either. Is it intentional? Well, some of it absolutely. Absolutely. Others might be side effects. I don't know. And I'm not telling you that like people are manipulating you on purpose. I can't prove that either. Consider this. With the rise of smart everything, guys, just bathe in different, feedback loops. It's like having an enemy that learns every time you react so it can hit you harder and subtler as needed. That means if you don't pass it, you didn't learn it the first time, then you're on a time death trap. The longer you stay in this trap, the harder it is to break free. Let's not forget legacy media and propaganda. They've been in the frequency war game long before the internet. Think about rally music, national anthems, flags, which are a visual frequency, slogans, which are repeated until they're etched into your memory. It's all about creating a resonance to the public. Why do companies spend millions of dollars on marketing, even if it's not going to directly relate to someone clicking on a link? Well, it's because your subconscious mind can interpret these signals. It's remembering things when you don't actively remember them. And therefore, when it's time to choose, they know your subconscious brain is really going to be what's guiding that gut feeling to choose. It has nothing to do with whether or not you remember the Super Bowl ad you saw. It's already baked in there if they showed it to you. And that's worth money. Because the CIA literally ran programs like Operation Mockingbird to influence media messaging during the Cold War. They placed agents in newsrooms to push narratives. That's not conspiracy, that's declassified history. And my lab wants to kick me off. I wonder why. Why does my lab trying to kick me off? If you think they suddenly stopped shaping narratives, I have a bridge in Brooklyn to sell you. Or I have a tower in Eiffel. I have a tower in Paris to sell you. If you don't believe that, guys. The techniques only get more advanced. They don't need to pay off every journalist. They just need to get topics trending enough or use bot swarms to sway public discourse online. They need to make it seem like somebody in Arkansas is like debating your comment that you left on some guy's post. But in reality, it's just a bot that's AI ran that's designed to get you to what do they call it? Rage bait. Like they're trying to rage bait you. Rage baiting is like the new gaslighting. Rage baiting is so close to gaslighting because you're basically telling someone that like what they're saying isn't true or like they don't have a point and you're just giving them like rage baiting is literally just gaslighting, guys. And I don't really honestly think gaslighting is a real thing. If you think that, you're crazy. You have no idea what you're talking about. And the end effect is artificial consensus, a controlled vibration of public opinion where outliners and outliers get shouted down or banned. And here I am going against the grain. I'm petting the dog against his fur. I'm petting the hedgehog. I'm running uphill when everyone else is running downhill. And I wonder why I'm getting shut down, why I'm not getting any views on my live stream, why I'm getting banned. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to do it anyway. The establishment is currently manipulating the frequency environment around you, emotionally, informationally, electronically, to keep you in a state that benefits them. Why do you think brain rot is so popular nowadays? It's because brain rot is low frequency, and brain rot will share and sell and keep you on the platform that you found it. Because it's funny, guys. Everyone loves seeing a shark wear shoes. Everyone loves seeing a wooden baseball bat with a baseball bat coming to bonk you. It's just funny, guys. But you don't see the intent behind that, right? You just see the end result of it. It's to keep you in a state that benefits them and not you. High frequency states like clarity, confidence, real love, and connection. You wonder why Love Island is the version of love. No, it's people with 100+ bodies pretending that they like each other. And then you're getting sold in the media that is what love is. No, it's never going to be love for those people. Those people have miserable lives. They will have miserable partnerships because they've traded away their connection for quick hits of dopamine with each other. I've done that too, guys. I've been in hookups. I've been in relationships, situationships, and I regret that because I've traded away frequency that I could have traded in for love and connection because media has impacted me. It's sexualized each other. Rap music, right? Popular pop songs, right? Look at all the trending artists. They're not trending for no reasons because society is already emitting a frequency because we've all been programmed to accept that hooking up and dangerous culture and taking down your ops is what's popular. No fucking duh, right? Like, of course. That's the plan, and we've fallen right into it. But what's hard is listening to classical music, reading a book, walking in silence, going outside now. Things that were the common norm before any media existed. Connecting deeply with people and actually giving a shit about their feelings. That's hard. And it's hard for a reason. We're not supposed to be winning. This is the frequency war. Now here's the good news, because I hate giving you guys just the bad stuff. I love you guys. When you become aware of it, you can start winning. Reading is great. Thanks, Julie. Reading is a lost art. No wonder women think that is the highest, most attractive trait a man can have. I had to read so much just to put this podcast together. You don't see the hours of work that go into prepping every single day's work of this. And hopefully I've learned a thing or two because I've seen a thing or two. No Farmer State, frequency ad right there. Knowledge is like a virus in the Matrix. Once it infects you, you start waking up and causing glitches in the system. Knowledge is the only thing that gets the system shut down because the system recognizes that it has an issue. And the natural response is to shut it down or put it on pause, which means everyone can be put on pause. So when you share knowledge, it's actually true. You start changing the course of the game. And if the game isn't working in your favor or most people's favor, which I think most of us would argue it is, then spreading knowledge is the only way to get a reset. So how do we unlock God tier control? Quite obvious. Master your energy and your frequency. Welcome everyone on Instagram, by the way. Welcome everyone on YouTube, on TikTok. I love you guys. Thanks for coming in here. So how do you go down from pawn to a king in this game? Well, you have to understand and master these forces. Knowledge alone is the first step, and I just talked about that. But now you have to act on it. Once you see how energy currency, which is a flow of energy, and frequency are tied together, you gain what I call God to your control over your own life. People don't want you to know this, which is why this live stream isn't getting promoted. They already have heard what I'm saying on multiple platforms. My string is now not getting pushed out. If you're lucky enough to already be here, then you're going to be here. But that's why I'm on 5 different platforms, because somebody's going to hear it as much as they'll try to shut it down, because it's not going to help them win more. It's not an exaggeration. To those still stuck in the Matrix, your ability to maneuver will almost seem superhuman. It's like you have cheat codes. And surprisingly, even though you've been told to drop ship, even though you've been told to start that Etsy account or whatever it is, do that side hustle, why is it a lot harder than it seems? It actually isn't that hard to make money, to actually make an insane living. One step behind when you think you're one step ahead. But honestly, I can show you how to get 3 steps ahead just by paying attention to what the real players are doing. So then when it's sold to everyone else as the trending way to make money, you've already cashed in and you're the one benefiting from selling shovels during the gold rush instead of looking for gold. First, we have to master our own frequency. And guys, I am not a hippie. As you can tell, my hair is normal. I'm not on weed, military. I just took a piss test last week. So I got my urine tested. I haven't been called in, so you guys know I'm drug tested. I'm not a hippie. First, master your own frequency. This means taking back control of your mind and the emotions from the fear machines that are distraction devices. This device that you're watching me on, you're actually, for the first time, it feels uncomfortable to be here, right? Because you're using the technology for its unintended purpose. Your intended purpose is to keep scrolling. It's for your brain to stay stuck in it. But when you go against the grain, it feels uncomfortable. It feels like you have to force yourself to listen to me. Well, that's not for no reason. It's intended. And so the harder it is to pay attention, that means the more you're pulling the magnets apart, right? When they just want to pull themselves back together, you're resisting that. And I applaud that. The real people with real values see that. And you will too, if you stay with it. Limit your doom scrolling. Cut off the 24/7 panic news. Because most of it, the left versus right, is not the fight that matters. Left versus right is just the first layer of news. It's the one that keeps most people stuck arguing with each other. But in reality, it's an up versus down. Left versus right, they're still paid by the same people. They're still influenced by the same groups. And they have the illusion of working for different groups of people. But in reality, it's never been about that. It's been about you versus the system itself. And I'm not saying start anarchy. I actually love our system. I wouldn't be serving in the military if I didn't. But I think we need to change a few things within it to make it better for everyone. When some breaking crisis happens, just take a breath, guys, and say, I will not be emotionally hijacked. I'm not going to let the news get to me. World War III is not going to happen tomorrow. I understand that that's probably just something to get my emotions pulled in. Well, other things are going on in the world. Why am I being distracted by World War III news? Well, the Genius Act passed. I just put a video out on that. Look it up. That's what's really important while the World War III news is keeping you doom scrolling. When you do that, when you take a breath, when you take time and say, I'm not going to be hijacked, your brain is in a higher order thinking mode. You stay logical when everyone else is losing their minds. But it seems like you're the crazy one, right? You ever said, I'm not going to give energy to this thing? I'm not going to give energy to The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, Love Island, Mr. Beast, when everyone else is watching that because the new, Stranger Things, right? The Super Bowl. And everyone's like, wow, this guy's crazy. This girl's crazy. You guys why aren't you with the trends? You're kind of just like falling off. That FOMO is a concept designed psychologically to keep you in check because that's power. It's not giving into things that were purposely there to distract you, that are distracting your friends, and that are preventing them from reaching the same level of clarity you have. A calm mind in a sea of chaos is like a lighthouse. People will start actually looking to you for guidance. Guys, if I didn't have this knowledge, would you be paying attention to me right now? Across all these different platforms, Instagram, Rumble, you guys on TikTok here? No. It's the so-called leaders, right, who are themselves panicking that you blow off, that you don't give respect to. Also, curate what frequencies you let in. And if you guys weren't paying attention to this whole lesson, it will be on YouTube. It'll be in clips on here. So I'll catch you up. But junk food is making you sluggish. You guys know that. Let's just start there. We'll cut it out. Eat clean, real foods that actually fuel you. And you have to understand what's actually going in your food. Guys, I use Yuka, Y-U-K-A, is a really great app. There's also like Seed Oil Scout or something like that you can scan barcodes and understand not just seed oils, right? But like the other ingredients that are put in foods to purposely affect you, right? And if there's too many things you don't understand, there's always going to be some like toxic shit in your food, right? That's the world we live in, but minimize it, guys. I'm not saying like grow your own corn tomorrow, right? You got to start somewhere, but just start making healthier choices. As I said at the beginning of this live stream, this is the Mountain Valley water bottle. These come from Arkansas. I actually asked ChatGPT to help me find the cleanest water I could drink. This is in a glass bottle, so no microplastics. Even the cap is like in aluminum and bottled in the Wichita Mountains. I might be terribly butchering that, but since 1871. So the old stuff, guys, the old stuff is still the same. And if they have too much money, too much influence, then they're probably not the best for you. Look at Coca-Cola, look at Pepsi, right? Even the healthy Coke Zero still has aspartame, which sure, you can drink 30 Cokes a day and it's not really going to impact you. It's such a small amount to make a difference, but it does disrupt your gut bacteria. And your gut bacteria is linked to your brain. That's where you get the gut feeling, the emotional reactivity to feelings that are bad. It's literally bacteria. It's think of like a brain in your gut. And when you feel uncomfortable, it can sense that. There's like emotions that get processed through that gut bacteria. Sends a signal to your brain, and it makes you second think things. So when you say I have a gut feeling about this, you're actually having a gut feeling about something. But aspartame, the ingredients in Coke Zero, the healthy alternative, right? Numb those bacteria. So you're going to start not only feeling like you're not in control of your decisions anymore, you're going to feel numbed and like desensitized, but you're going to lose the ability to have clarity over your decisions, even though you're getting healthier. It's honestly better, guys. You just drink Coke less, drink the real sugar, and just deal with it. And if you're having too many calories, well, you have to drink water then. Just drink sparkling water, drink AHA, something with minimal like additives and stuff to it. But it's, again, you can't short circuit this. Anytime you're trying to short circuit health, there's always a hidden cost. And honestly, I'd rather know what the cost is. I'd rather know it's high calories and sugar than be stuck in some shit loop where I'm getting fed something that's going to hurt me or give me cancer in 30 years. Or even something worse that's there to numb my senses even more. So curate what frequencies, guys. You are the programmer. Your phone is a tool. If you use it that way, you can research on it, not the other way around. Get rid of Clash Royale, get rid of Highly or Hinge or Tinder, right? Just dial it on yourself until you fix some of these things, and then go back out and project that frequency to other people. Same with music or entertainment. Go through, clean up your playlist. Try to spending some time each day in silence, or just learning something instead of constant dopamine simulation. Listen to actual classical music. Listen to a piano concerta, I think that's how you say it, by like Mozart, right? Or Bach or somebody like that. And think about how hard it seems. Think about how much you want to turn on Tate McRae or Cardi B or, I don't know, Justin Bieber, right? Like whatever it is, the baby, right? It's so hard because your brain is used to the subconscious signals of you wanting to participate in this like groupthink, right? Of kind of toxic subconscious, brain waves put out at these frequencies, which make you depressed, as we've said already. It makes you anxious. It makes you feel bad. Why is listening to rap music for 6 hours a day make me feel like shit? There you go. Try listening to something classic. You're going to realize how much better your mood is. I'll tell you that. It's all crazy, right? It sounds crazy. It's supposed to sound crazy because you're not supposed to be thinking this clearly. You'll start to feel a sort of inner electricity come back, a focus that you haven't had. You think it's because you're not drinking enough water. Ladies, I know your boyfriends say that. Drink more water. I'll hand you this glass. But in reality, you just need to gain consciousness, and you need to reset your brain. But to do that, you have to get rid of the things that are disrupting it that you can't see, because you're trying to fix something by therapy or by getting even more prescriptions or medications. But in reality, the clarity would come from realizing the hidden threats. If you just take a few of those out, you don't need all the extreme measures. You just need to get back in touch with yourself. Take command of your currency, right? Money, energy, the work you're doing. We can't control how much other people control what our money is worth. If it's worth less and you already agreed to a certain rate per hour or per month, you can't change that easily. You can ask for a raise, but you can't do it every month. You have to understand, again, what fiat currency really is. And it's just a game of musical chairs rigged by the banks. You can play it smart though. Hedge against inflation. Invest in things that hold their value over time, like real estate, right? Why do you think it's so hard to buy a house right now? Because that's one of the only things that can grow with the fact that money grows. Real assets. Cryptocurrency, guys, if you don't know what it is, just buy Bitcoin. Buy stocks if you're savvy and could stomach volatility. Point is, just don't sit on cash, because cash is getting worth less and less. The biggest thing, guys, this pissed me off the other day to learn about, but you know how they're saying like inflation is like 3% a year, and that's like high. In reality, the actual adjusted inflation for each person, our spending power went down about 10.5%, meaning shit got 10% more expensive. And they lied to you and told you that it was getting 3% more expensive. And you're wondering, why is it so much harder? It feels like it's so much harder to afford gas and clothing. It went up 10%. And you're not crazy. You were just being lied to. So that the people that were actually profiting off that owned real estate where the value went up, they could just keep their mouth shut. And to you, it's like, well, don't worry about it. Get back to work. What the fuck are you complaining about? You guys aren't crazy. It's an energy leak in your life that benefits them the more you give attention to it, though. Just start owning assets rather than being one for other people. Own a little stock. Just find a little land, right? Whatever money you have. I think the best way to start is either put it in look up a high yield savings account, because that'll at least give you something for inflation. But most of the time, inflation is a lot higher than what they'll pay you. So buy stocks, right? And buy stocks, really. You can buy real estate, you can buy bigger things, but the cheapest thing is like crypto or stocks. You want money to flow to you while you sleep instead of you having to always grind for it. The best stocks you could buy, look up high dividend stocks. I don't support Coca-Cola. I think they're poisoning a lot of people, but they pay high dividends, meaning if you own Coca-Cola, every quarter they pay out money for owning the stock, like, right? All the extra money Coca-Cola made, they're like, we don't know what to do with it, so we're just going to give it back to the people that own Coca-Cola. You might own one share, but you're going to get a couple pennies from it. it, you can set it up so those pennies just buy more Coca-Cola. And all of a sudden your money just compounds. $50 to do this on Robinhood. Guys, it's not like buying a whole rental property, right? So you got to start somewhere, but buy things that go up with, as the value of money goes down, stocks will go up because they're worth more dollars now. So if you buy those things right now, then Coca-Cola grows in value and you're an owner of that from even if you have 1 or 2 shares. So buy those things. And here's a mindset shift. Start thinking of your attention and data as currency too. Because in the digital age, it literally is. Every time you give attention, you spend a little bit of your mental currency. Think about how many distractions exist out there. I'm paying attention to like 5 different screens right now. And you guys that are spamming me on TikTok, I love you guys. But it might sound fluffy, but it's tactical. The more you like switch tabs, the more you multitask, it's really just your brain switching back and forth quicker. You're never paying attention to more than one thing at a time. You're just really good at going back and forth. When you operate instead and stop getting into that, draining your energy with purpose, love, creativity, confidence, call it high frequency emotion. You guys have heard those terms before. Your body and mind enter a peak state. The Heart Math Institute research shows that positive emotions like gratitude, or being grateful for at least being here right now, which I'm very grateful to have you guys here, creates a coherent heart rhythm that synchronizes your brain into alpha waves, boosting your cognitive functions. You actually are more productive, and your resilience, meaning you don't get like pissed off or you don't cave in as easily, right? To sugar, to distractions. So if you think about the opposite side of that, right? The less gratitude you have, the more angry you are, the easier it's going to be to fall into depression, right? When you're going through a breakup, no wonder it's so easy to listen to sad music because you're putting out beta waves instead of alpha waves. And so you're falling into these traps a lot easier. It's very hard when you're going through a breakup or a bad time in your life, a financial crisis, to trigger alpha waves and have gratitude about that. But that's how you keep composure and control. In plain words, good vibes make you smarter and stronger, and bad vibes distract you and pull you away. Think about legendary leaders or warriors. The ones who charge into battle with a roar, fearless and confident. That's a high frequency state overriding the ambient fear. It's not about not feeling fear. I'm scared talking to you guys. I still have social confidence issues. I'm still just a scared little boy in a man's suit and outfit, right? I still have my own fears. I'm always gonna be a little bit scared putting myself out here and putting a message out. But my confidence outweighs that. And that allows me to still go out and produce good output, produce good energy. I just override the equation with enough confidence that I can outcalculate the anxiety. And even though I feel like I'm sweating and I'm like getting nervous, you guys can probably feel if I totally let it control me. Like some people can't speak publicly to save their lives. You can generate that in your daily life. It's like turning yourself into a higher channel where the noise of petty distractions can't reach as easily. So I'm gonna give you guys 2 more tips and then I'm gonna kind of give you the true fix. So first, I want you guys to develop a routine that fortifies your frequency. So you've heard the complaints, you've heard the problems of reality. I can just leave you here and then you're pissed off. That's not gonna help. Why don't I tell you what to do with it? So it could be morning meditation or prayer to center yourself before the info bombardment starts, before you check your phone and you're automatically put in that lower state. Physical training, like pushing your limits in the gym or just 10 push-ups in the morning to sharpen your body and mind. Reading something challenging or enlightening each day. That's why reading is so not pushed, why libraries are dying off, because reading actually triggers alpha waves. These habits compound too. Over time, you literally become a different creature compared to the average person stuck in the mud of the system. You notice you don't get swayed by propaganda as easily. You see through it. You don't get addicted to every new shiny distraction. You measure things by their true value. You start having original thoughts and big ideas. That's when you know your frequency is elevating above the noise. These signs are going to come and send you an email or a letter in the mail saying, hey, you're actually mastering this shit. You're just going to feel it. It's like going to the gym. You don't feel yourself getting bigger, but one day, 30 days, 60 days later, you look back and say, I don't recognize that old person in the photos anymore. That person with the dad bod or the summer weight or the maternity bod, whatever it is, like I've kicked their ass. They're out of here. And finally, embrace your sovereignty. Sovereignty is important. It's your control over your surroundings and your actions. More importantly, your mindset. This is the mindset that you are authority over your own life. It's not the government. It's not social media consensus or FOMO, right? As much as you might feel it. It's not tradition. Sovereignty is a high frequency alpha wave state. It means that you accept full responsibility for your energy and where you direct it. Yes, the game is rigged. We've outlined that, but you don't get to use that as an excuse. How many times do you see people, again, I love using relationships because relationships are really just interacting with other people in the world is just a mirror of your actual reality. It's kind of like color, right? Like I see wavelengths that are reflected back into my eyes in the perception of color. There's a red light behind me, there's blue light, whatever it is, but I see that color as a reflection of what my eyes are interpreting in terms of wavelengths. Relationships, dating relationships, your romantic partners are a good reflection of your emotions and your energy. And the problems that you exhibit in your romantic relationships are really just being mirrored energy of what you're displaying. So if you're being controlling, if you're being manipulative, if you're being toxic, if you're being hostile, that will be shown very easily by your partner because they'll be receiving that. As much as you don't think you're displaying anxiety, it'll be picked up and reflected back to you. So understand that sovereignty is you understanding that you are responsible for that. It's not blaming your partner because they're reflecting your own anxiety. It's not blaming your boss because you didn't show up to work on time. It's taking full responsibility for the issues that you're dealing with, correcting where you direct it. Once you truly absorb that the cavalry isn't coming, that no politician, no politician, no guru is coming to save you. Even me, guys, like I give you the advice, it's all inside my link in my bio, but I can't do that for you. Then a fire ignites inside because you guys know that you have it. And honestly, I wouldn't want a life where I had to hold your hand the whole way. I can give you the information, but you have to be the one to take action. Self-resilience is fuel. It's the best fuel because it burns forever. And ironically, self-resilient people find it easier to cooperate freely and to build strong communities because they're not looking to just leech off other people like a toxic relationship or blame others. That's what the powers that be fear. Independent individuals, when they link up, when you are watching my live stream, when we synchronize on what we're saying, when you guys can feel the actual fact that I give a shit about you and that we work together, the strong people fear the hell out of that. And that is the best way that we make an impact on our world. Voting for a certain person, it's not disagreeing and giving into what they want. It's coming together and saying, hey, we all want a better life. Why don't we trust the fact that we can work together? That's how anything great gets started. In short, understanding this trifecta, energy, currency, and frequency, hands you the blueprint to opt out of the victim script that society wrote for you and feels like you have to give into and play the victim role. And you can start writing your own story. It's like you've been giving an X-ray glasses, right? You see the manipulation. Once you see it, it no longer works on you and you can't go back. I'm sorry, guys, it might be painful to carry this burden of understanding how things actually work. But why would you want to live a life where you're just back in the known state to it? Where you feel like there's something out there, you don't know what it is, but your life hasn't resulted in anything yet. And you feel this anxiety because you can't see the full truth. I've given you the truth. I opened the book. I can't effect change for you. You have a link in my bio. You can learn more about what to do and how to make money off of this stuff and take it to the next level. You can just come back to my live streams, but I've taken the mirror off and I've allowed you to see what everything actually is. And I'm sorry if that hurts. I'm sorry if I triggered something, pissed you off about it, but that's the only way that I can get you out of the state of mind you've been in. Think about a gambling addict, right? When you pull them away from the slot machine, the patterns of beliefs that felt good, that they're used to, what is their first reaction? It's not to say, well, gee, thank you. Thank you for helping me with my problem. It's going to be to try to punch you in the face. You guys want to punch me. I want to punch me sometimes. Sometimes my hair's not done right and I just want to just punch myself, right? I'm mad at myself for being here, for realizing these things because it puts a burden on me. But this is a responsibility I chose to carry, even if I get banned, canceled, whatever it is. And I want you guys to make yourselves better too. You're going to hate me for telling you the truth of reality. But don't hate me. Understand that this is coming from my view of the system, a view that's probably more accurate than you guys are willing to admit to yourself. But you can see how these things play out. You can see the truth behind what I've told you. And now it's your choice whether or not to direct that energy at me, to swipe to the next video and not give a shit, or to take action and understand that you can actually beat this. There's loopholes in this system. Now to turbocharge all of this, I'm going to tell you one more thing. I'm going to skip like this big call to action thing, but I'm giving you an invitation to step out of the spectator role and become a player in the game. You've gotten the knowledge, you've gotten the network, the tools to put it into action. Now there's two things you guys should do. You need to stay here. It doesn't have to be me. I don't necessarily need it to be me. I have nothing, like, I want you guys. I love you guys being here. It makes me feel good about myself, right? I'm still a victim of the same system of needing validation, right? But there's other creators doing the same thing. Learn about the reality of our world, not just what school taught you because it's wrong, not just what you've been fed by media. Stop watching what the news headlines are and understanding what's happening behind the scenes. Listen to me more. Listen to other creators, but join a space of people trying to better themselves. And all of the people, when they realize this and the collective conscious comes together, that's when change happens. And the first sign of change is you start making money in a system where you're rigged not to. That's the sign that something's working. So join the syndicate inside of my space, right? Our private community of free thinkers, action takers, and access to deep, forbidden knowledge where I can actually get deeper than I can here without getting completely banned. AI-powered money systems, using AI, using technology to do, because again, the only ethical way to break this out, guys, and understand this, is you can leverage other people, you can give into the system and be one of the shitbags who use other people's energy to produce money for you. You can pull other people's energy, their life force, and just pull that to you in a big money magnet where you profit and you make their lives as shitty as possible. Or you use AI that exists now and you do it ethically. You use technology and systems and save human energy. You save human effort, human pain, exhaustion, and we all build together using artificial intelligence to be the tool that does the work. But you have to know how to do that. You have to have the knowledge first of even how to not piss people off and to work with people to do this properly. Don't fight this war alone. Please don't. You might not know what to do. You might be pissed off. You might be sad. Good. But when you join our syndicate, when you stay in this area, this frequency, right, you tap into a community of others who refuse to be energy slaves and trading that currency for currency. We share strategies, insider insights, cutting edge tech tactics to boost your wealth and fortify the frequency you have. It's not just like money secrets. It's not like a guru course. I'm showing you guys how to control energy and therefore currency and therefore money behind it. If you're done being a pawn, if you're ready to become a leader and a true magnet that is just that others will say, how the hell did they do this? Because they have to have a cheat code. Because you guys do have a cheat code. I'm giving it to you and we're helping each other. It's not just me. Then go inside my community, go inside my profile, click the link. There's a free community to start in. I at least start there and then join the syndicate when you feel ready. Reclaim your energy, your currency, and your future. Bold moves are the only moves that will get us out of where we're at. So I need you guys to make yours now. With that said, there are, I could go through, there's 26 sources. They come from Cambridge backing this, The Guardian, Nike, Columbia, Medium, TechStartup.com, Etymology Online, Wikipedia, PubMed, Big Think, Psychology Today. I could list off all these sources. Everything I said is researched, it's backed. You can look up anything and prove, please go prove me wrong. I would love to learn more. But I can tell you that most people aren't going to teach you this unless you look behind the layers. And I would love to be that source for you. So follow, subscribe, like, anything to help me blow up, guys. I would love that. And I hope I added some sort of value to you today. Now I'm going to go get, I think I'm going to go get like a coffee and I'm going to need to like chill the fuck out and go sit in the sun for a little bit. I'm in this dark room right now. I need to go get some sunlight or reset my brain from being so triggered. As you guys can see, this is passionate. I care about you guys. That's why I serve the country. That's why I've been in the military. That's why I care about human beings. And I think that there's a better existence than the one we live in. And I hope you guys do too. I'll see you tomorrow for not the same time, usually 7 p.m. But love you guys. Take care. I'm going to end this here.